Okay, so same people, and welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. So today, guys, like always, another weekly analysis for you. On the screen are the pairs that we'll be analyzing today, but make sure you do stay to the end of the video. As always, there is a bonus pair there for you. Then taking new positions this week, things were quite choppy, nothing quite set up. There are weeks, of course, where we'll stay at the market, and there's some weeks where I'm very active. I've been semi-active the past few weeks, but this week didn't really provide anything, so we're going to skip straight into the analysis of the DXY, which I've been keeping a close eye on. We had some news this week, kind of hoping for us to kind of get the breakout, get the movement up to speed really with the dollar, because we've been quite choppy for the past few days, and whether there's going to be a break to the upside or to the downside, just want to see some momentum really. But coming to the week, I did have a bullish bias, looking for us to break higher. We did see that, not really with the momentum I was kind of hoping for. We did break to the upside on CPI on Tuesday, I believe, breaking above this key level here, breaking above that area of resistance. I do think we can still see some more upside. Right now the market looks quite flat, and arguably we're kind of ranging, but since we are above this area, it is acting as support. We have broken through the trend line. That for me is the green light for, okay, dollar is likely to see some more strength. In terms of opportunities, I kind of want to see a bit more upside before I do start to look for pullbacks myself. Perhaps a retest of that range for a buy. That might be a nice setup in the next few days. So looking for buying opportunities. If I was to turn bearish, it's because we were to break back underneath, see another swing back into lows, new lows created, then maybe we do put another low high in and continue. So that's the only way I would be looking for dollar weakness in terms of opportunities. At the moment, since we've got the break of that that area of confluence, the trend line, the area of resistance, that has made me bullish. We also had a bit of a wick to the downside, confirming that area as support as well. So I'm looking for a bit more strength for the dollar, more upside, and some opportunities favoring dollar strength going into next week. So taking that into Euro USD, pretty much looking for the inverse. In this case, the technicals are slightly different. We have broken through the trend line. We did have a nice pullback and a retest of it, but we are trading still above critical area of support, previously acting as resistance, the prior swing high there, which kind of is probably what's keeping us sideways at the moment. So again, with the dollar, if we are going to see some strength there, I would expect to see Euro, of course, see the opposite. And if I can see a strong push down for Euro USD, that again will give me the green light to be looking for some opportunities on a pullback, perhaps to retest that level, even retest this area as support, which will be turned into resistance, and that could be looking like a very nice lower high for a shorting opportunity. Somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern. You got the left head, right shoulder. That's kind of your neckline there, if you catch my drift. And then of course looking for a swing to the downside. I do think Euro is quite extended. We have been operating within this channel here, overall quite corrective. The momentum we had once in this bullish trend is not quite the same anymore. So I've been expecting Euro to have a bit of a breather for a while. It looks like we're potentially going to get that, but again, I do need to see that momentum really break through before I do start looking for opportunities. At the end of the day, this is still an area of support which price is holding, and maybe price does respect that and continue higher. And that's the case, I'll kind of back away. But for now, this is really the area of interest, the opportunity I'm gunning for next week. Breaking retest of 1.155, shorts back into any of these lows here. Pretty manage the trade as we go along, but let's say 1.12 as the next kind of big psychological level for Euro. So that's the plan going to next week for Euro USD. Okay guys, so before we progress with the video, I just want to quickly share with you a project we've been working on, Zenthryx.ai. It's an advanced AI-powered trading platform which allows traders to access AI-powered tools and a lot more to take their trading to the next level. And I quickly want to share with you the platform. We'll go through it briefly, take a look at what Zenthryx has to offer, what's coming soon, and what to get excited about. So quickly, let's take a look. This is the platform. This is the dashboard for Zenthryx.ai. You've got different areas for different sections and different services that Zenthryx has to offer. Here you have the CFD trading area, which allows you to access the AI-powered trading signals across different markets, different time frames. There's a lot to go through there, and you can choose what signals you want to follow. You can also connect it to your broker, so you can directly take these trades into your brokerage account, whether demo or live. You can also chat with different AI agents. Here you've got a selection of different analysts. You got fundamental analysts here, which you can talk to in plain language, discuss what the fundamental outlooks are for Euro USD, for example. You can talk with the technical analysis, the sentiment analysis, and find different information for different markets. You've got the market outlook here. This will give you outlooks for the day, outlook for the week. If you want to get a brief summary of what opportunities there are for the day or for the week, that's a great place to start. You've got the platform algorithm over here, which you can find and create different strategies, indicators. Here's the strategy validation, which actually allows you to backtest strategies and see how profitable it is, and also give you indications to how to tweak and improve the strategy. Here you'll be able to find a library of all the strategies and all the indicators you make. And the beauty of it is you can use plain language to develop these indicators and develop these strategies. No code is required. Also, the CFD strategy builder, you can come here, build a strategy from scratch. If you need some help, you've got the AI assistant here, which will give you prompts. It will give you information of how to start to develop a trading strategy. You can, of course, take the strategy and go and connect it with your brokerage account. And in these tabs, you can monitor it, monitor upcoming trades, monitor your performance on that account. And a really bright future of Zenthryx is how it looks into the future, into trading on-chain and on-chain prop firms as well. Here we have perps trading, which allows you to trade directly from your wallet on-chain. So no broker required, no need for withdrawal delays or deposit delays or KYC. Here you have on-chain prop firm, which involves exactly what you've been seeing with normal prop firms trading on a centralized exchange. This time it's just decentralized, so the exact same rules apply, but again, look into the future, how trading is developing into the future. Here you can find crypto trading on the Solana blockchain. You can swap between tokens, place orders, launch tokens here, trading bots. You have an AI assistant there to help. You can monitor other wallets and so on, and a lot more coming in the near future, guys. So get excited. There's a lot coming here with Zenthryx. Check out the description. You can find the Telegram link to the community, and also for limited time only, we do have an offer, the Telegram Signal group, which you can find the link to that as well. So check it out if you're interested. Anyway, back to the video. Okay, so next up we've got dollar yen. So we've had a very nice break to the upside this week, clearing out these highs. So I'm leaning towards a bullish bias for dollar yen. Now, not necessarily long term. I'm looking at the higher time frames, particularly the weekly chart. Still looking at these major lower highs prices printing. I'm still thinking there's a strong chance that price could form another one, and we could head right back into this critical level of support. I do think long term, perhaps we do even break through that. So long term, I actually am still pretty bearish on dollar yen, but we have seen a lot of weakness in the yen. That doesn't necessarily look like it's slowing down. We might be seeing a bit of a pullback, yes, but I think overall yen is still quite strong and still quite weak, and it's probably likely to continue to be weak. So with that, and of course DXY potentially gaining some strength as well, that could be a very nice recipe for some bullishness here on dollar yen. I am looking at this big level here on the daily weekly chart around 151, 500, 152 we'll call it. Really big level, as you can see, prior highs here on the weekly chart, really big rejections. I do think price potentially can push into this area, form that next lower high in that sequence, and perhaps we could sell off from there. So I'm looking for more upside towards that level. As I drop to the 4-hour chart, you can see we have been in a bit of a range with some kind of weird breakouts we've seen recently. But this looks like we've legit broken outside this range, and perhaps now we can see some more upside. So I quite like the look of a pullback, perhaps to retest that same area, and looking for opportunities on the back of that. We've got a nice Fibonacci confluence of the 0.5. I think naturally that would be a healthy pullback, unless you can find some lower time frame, maybe break and retest opportunities on the way up. That could be a nice trade there, but I do think dollar yen has more upside to give. I'm looking for some strength on the dollar, looking for some weakness on the yen. That does put me in the bullish camp of dollar yen, and of course the price action is backing that up as well after the strong rejection we've had here. We've had a long consolidation, but it does look like price is breaking high. So it would be nice to find a pullback there for dollar yen, and then look for opportunities on the back of that and targets at least back to the high. But I do think 152 is going to be the biggest swing there for dollar yen into next week. Okay, so over to dollar CAD. So dollar CAD's been an interesting one. We have seen some more upside. We were looking for that for the past couple of weeks. We broke out this descending channel, somewhat put a double bottom at these lows. We were trading at that massive area of demand on the daily chart. If we look to the left here, nice brief pause in the market, and we flew to the upside from that same area. So we know that when price gets there again, there's a likely chance that we do see more buyers enter the market, and perhaps maybe a bit of a bottom does form, and we're seeing evidence of that happening. I wouldn't say we've necessarily put a bottom in, as in confirmed, because structure's still bearish, and this is still where we had some meaningful resistance. If price was to respect that again, I think we could very much fall to the downside. We haven't necessarily lit up the market with some bullish momentum here. We did have a nice breakout initially, but since then we've been very corrective on the way up, which is not really what you want to see. You want to see more strength, more momentum there to really kind of convince that, okay, this is a bottom and the market is breaking structure, seeing healthy momentum. The likely chances that we do continue to the upside at this rate. I wouldn't be surprised if we do smash into resistance and probably have a bit of a sell-off. So naturally, I do like the shorts from here for dollar CAD. I also do like the buys as well, but I would need to see some more momentum come back into the market, and I would need to see a break of structure taking out this high. So if we do get a strong push to the upside for dollar CAD, so that of course will be a double bottom, and then the break of structure, the break of the neckline, then I can be looking for some pullbacks, maybe even a retest of that same area for a buy. So I can see price do both scenarios, not necessarily favoring one or the other, but we are quite corrective. So if that doesn't change, we probably will get the sell opportunity rather than the buy. If that momentum picks up and we see a strong break of the high there, then of course I'll be looking for some buying opportunities for dollar CAD. I am expecting some more strength for the dollar. CAD is still quite weak at the moment as well, so that might mean we'll probably might get a great chance of us breaking higher, but things can change very quickly, and if we don't see that momentum and if price rejects well, then of course the shorts is going to be is going to be the more attractive option. So keep an eye to see how we develop, but that's really where my interest is at this level at 1.378, and we can see what we can do next week. Okay, so next up we've got Euro Pound. So Euro Pound, we've managed to hit some resistance on the daily chart. So this is kind of where I back away. I've been pretty bullish on Euro Pound. Unfortunately, haven't quite been able to take advantage of a pullback because there hasn't really been much of one. We had this lovely breakout not long ago, a bit of a consolidation. I was waiting for the retest of that area. Then we broke out of that. Then I was looking for the retest of that area. Didn't see that happen either. So the market has been quite bullish, not much. Or at least any deep pullbacks there for Euro Pound. But now we have a smash into resistance and we're starting to starting to become a bit more corrective. So I do think we can see some downside here for Euro Pound. I'm not looking for a crazy reversal. In fact, with how Euro Pound does move, I'm also looking for short-term moves, short-term plays, not necessarily looking to hold a big swing trade because the overall direction for Euro Pound is quite flat. So unless we're down at the lows or up at the highs of the range, not really looking to overstay our welcome. So going to keep a close eye on Euro Pound. We are still bullish for now, still seeing higher highs and higher lows. So I'm refraining from looking for any entries to take this lower. But if I can see some double tops come into play, maybe a lower high, maybe even a break of structure, that would be nice. Then I can start to look for some lower highs and some shorts. So the idea is still hypothetical. There's no necessarily a level which I'm looking to trade just yet. I'm kind of just waiting for us to kind of break out of that bullish channel, break out of that bullish structure, then start to look for some shorting opportunities to take this lower. So the level will come as the days and potentially weeks progress. Of course, there is a while we do break to the upside as well. And if the market does stay bullish and maintains the higher highs and higher low bullish market structure, then of course we'll stay away, let the market do what it needs to do. If it is going to break out, we'll discuss that if that's the case. But if we can see some evidence of price putting in some equal highs or lower highs or breaking structure to the downside, that could leave some nice shorting opportunities back into some of these areas which we haven't come back to retest yet. So naturally those will make for some healthy targets. So Euro Pound, I'm starting to look for sell opportunities, not quite there yet, so be patient, but I am not interested in buying, especially coming into major resistance, especially with how choppy euro pound can be. So keeping a close eye for some shorts, hopefully we can break some structure and then short it back into that big consolidation beneath us around 0.855 for next week. Okay, so next up we do have Aussie dollar. So very chaotic price action for a while. It has been. I'm still expecting price to break lower. You can see it pretty well on the daily chart. Price has been operating within the channel for a while. Typically, when we're in a channel like this, we normally do break lower. So the plan has been waiting for shorts up at the high of the channel, because that's where I'm kind of away from the noise. I can put a stop loss above the channel, which again, safer place, away from the noise. And I've got a pretty decent risk reward for a push into the low of the channel. If I enter like a 4-hour chart, I could probably get a nice 1 to 2, 1 to 3, maybe even more. And then potentially capitalize on the breakout as well, which is kind of more like a bonus. But I like the shorts up at the high. I'm still going to keep an eye on that. Whether we get there or not next week, I have no idea. Not too sure if we will, but if we do, of course, I'm going to keep a close eye. It looks like we've had a bit of a fake out. It looks like price is coming back into the low of the channel again. Perhaps we do find support and do see some upside, but I am looking for a breakout, and I would be careful with shorting breakouts as well, because I'm looking for a price to break lower. Sometimes taking breakouts could be a nice play, but we've had some attempts of price trying to break low, and they've kind of all been a bit dodgy. So if you are going to do that, have some room in the stop loss. I think waiting for a retest could be a smart play, because each time we've had a breakout, there's been no successful retest. So waiting for a break and a retest kind of gives you that added confirmation before jumping to the trade. But that's still very much the plan. The analysis hasn't really changed in the past maybe month or two really for Aussie dollar. We've been very, very corrective, expecting us to break down. It's still the plan. Wait and see if we can get some shorts up at the top end of the channel. And that's really the plan for next week, and then hopefully some breakouts. But we'll wait and see if we can get a push back into 0.662, 664 next week for some shorts. Okay, so next up we got New Zealand CAD, which is still stuck within the range, but it does look like we're starting to break lower. Price hasn't really developed much. I'll be looking for price to break to the upside. It hasn't really happened, and we had a nice push lower. We faked to the downside a couple of times. We broke to the downside again this week, and it looks like somewhat of a retest. I wouldn't say we're confidently broken back within the range. I know on the 4-hour chart, you would say we have broken back within the range, but because of that wick on the daily chart, I'm not quite convinced. If there was more of a confirmed or a significant close on the daily chart, then yeah, I would be more confident with the fake to the downside, the break back above, and perhaps a retest to continue higher. But I do favor more downside for New Zealand CAD. It looks to me that we're likely to see a break lower. And of course, to confirm that, I do want price to start trading back below the range, and then hopefully use that to retest as resistance. Just because of the wick of the daily chart, I'm not going to be looking to short that outright. This is still an area of support, which could still take us higher. But because of that wick on the daily chart, I'm not convinced with the move to the upside. I do think there is more downside for New Zealand CAD. And if I do jump back to the daily chart, I am looking for a long-term push back to this area. If, of course, we do break to the downside, that's where I do see the market heading towards. We've had a very clean move on the way up. So if we do break that floor, naturally I do think we'll just push back into major support, maybe even these lows here as well. But we've got a big psychological level of 0.8. I think that will be a big draw on price. So looking for a strong break to the downside, some pullbacks, hopefully a retest of that area, stop loss above the level, and shorts to target 0.8 will be the plan next week for New Zealand CAD. Okay, so up next we've got pound NZD. So I'm looking for this to break lower. I've been speaking about this uptrend for a while. I do think it's quite corrective. It's running out of steam. Momentum's dropped off. We've been consolidating for a while. Lack of conviction to the upside. We've taken out some major highs in the COVID highs quite a while ago now, but I do expect to see a pullback after that, which we're still yet to see. So I do think pound NZD can have a bit of a relief and a drop to the downside. And if I drop to the 4-hour chart, you can pretty much see we've just been consolidating really. We've got some resistance above our heads here around 2.27. We've got support around here around 2.22. And essentially the market has just been consolidating between the two levels. Now I'm expecting us to break lower, so the way I'm looking to tackle pound NZD is short high, short the range high, and sell it back towards the low of the range, hopefully lock in some gains there. But I have the expectation that we're probably likely to break to the downside, so if we see some evidence of price breaking lower, looking to leave positions to run to hopefully capitalize on a big down move. So pound NZD, I'm pretty bearish, looking for a lot more downside. We're very flat, so the plan is do not trade within the range here in the middle. That's where all the chaos is. That's where the indecisiveness of the market will be at all-time high, really. So I don't want to get involved there. I want to be at the top end, or if I'm looking to buy at the bottom of the range, that's where I want to do my business, because I do have a bearish bias. I'm inclined to look for short. So this is really the area which I like, 2.27, get some stop losses above the high there. Hopefully some healthy rejection, short it into the low, 2.22, 2.21, then maybe a breakout in the coming days, coming weeks. But that's the plan next week for pound NZD. Okay, so next up we got CAD Yen. So I'm looking for a lot more upside here for CAD Yen. I've been pretty bearish on the pair. I've been talking about potentially another lower high forming and a push down, but we didn't really see that develop as I was expecting it to. Price was finding resistance, but eventually did break through this week. Yen's been pretty weak, and we picked up momentum to the upside. So I'm looking at the continuation of this momentum. We did mention this last week as well. We broke through this trend line here as well. So that really kind of shows me that the buyers are taking control, and the likelihood of us returning back to the high looks pretty high right now. So going forward with CAD Yen, I am looking at a pullback into this zone. Really nice area of resistance previously on the daily chart, which now is acting as, well, hopefully going to act as support. You can see that wick there shows a lot of rejection. Price since broken through. Can we come back and retest, perhaps even retest the trend line as well? That would be a nice confluence to back up the position. But this is really what I'm looking for, a more kind of deeper, relaxed pullback, a push back into the high, but more so into 110, and just continuing this market structure, trying to find the next higher low. So pretty bullish in CAD Yen. I'm quite bearish on the yen right now, so a lot of the yen pairs I still do see more upside for now, and CAD Yen is definitely one of them. So looking for some pullbacks into the 107 area. Hope we find some entries and targeting 110 for next week. Okay, so next up we've got pound USD. So I am looking at a lot more downside here for pounds, another USD pair, which again, I'm favoring a lot of strength for the dollar. And if we were to see that, pound USD is likely to head lower. We've had the breakout of this ascending channel. We've taken out some major highs to our left. Typically, especially in FX, when you take out these major highs, we do tend to see some bigger pullbacks. And I've been expecting pound USD to go through that. Now it looks like we're breaking out that channel. We haven't quite broken through structure yet, which I said would be, the kind of big green light, the big confirmation for pound USD shorts. I still do like the idea of shorting pound USD, even if we don't take out this low, but it would be a much better opportunity if we can take out the low, then pull back and then short. I am looking at this kind of as a head and shoulder pattern. So you've got the left head, right shoulder. But regardless, if we don't break structure or we respect it, I'm still looking for a lower high. That kind of breakout with the momentum, the breakout of the ascending channel is enough for me, especially where we're located as well. I'm expecting a lot more downside. And in terms of the area which I'm looking to do business in is pretty much this area here. Nice brief area of supply. We paused there for a moment. Nice strong push to the downside. Looking for a retest of 1.355. If we can get there again, retest it well, look for some entries. We'll be looking to short. And as for targets, I'm looking at this area. Nice area of supply. Did give us a pretty big move to the upside. So around 1.325, 1.32 is where I do see pound USD ending up. And maybe further, but I think we'll just call it for that level for now. So pound USD looking to short, looking for some pullbacks into 1.355. Hopefully you can see that develop next week, and some shorts back into 1.32 will be the plan for pound USD. Okay, so next up we've got pound CAD. So I'm looking for a lot more downside for pound CAD. I see it as a very similar market to pound USD. I'm pretty bearish on that one. 8 times out of 10 I'm going to be pretty bearish on pound CAD as well. But including the market structure, it is pointing to the downside. More so I'm expecting it to. The market is still, yes, bullish. We are still seeing higher highs and higher lows, and we are still coming into support. But I do expect us to break lower. We've had this very dramatic push to the upside, I'm looking at as somewhat as a fake out, a big kind of one last move to the upside, sucking in some buyers, maybe taking out some early sellers, and then prices been selling off since then. So once we do crack through this support, I'm expecting us to come back into these lows and probably a lot further as well. So I quite like the shorts for pound CAD, but we do need to clear that support level before I would look to short it, because of course I don't want to be shorting directly into support. There might still be some nice buying opportunities before that does come into play. You know, price might still want to have another bounce. I would keep an eye on that. We did see a bounce this week, but I do think the bigger move is with the sellers. So if you can crack through 1.83 this week, I think the shorts on the flip will look very, very good. Hoping for a retest and then shorts back into the low here, where of course we formed this low before we had that big run to the upside. I think price can go further, but I think for next week, or at least for the next few days, that's probably the smart area to target for now. So pretty bearish on pound CAD, expecting a break of 1.83. Let's wait for it though, and then we can start to look for some shorts on the retest, hopefully, and some shorts back into the low there at 1.8, which is a pretty big psychological level there for pound CAD. So that's the plan going to next week. Okay, so next up we've got pound yen. So we're still kind of chugging away to the upside. We're stuck at some resistance. Price hasn't really developed much since we last spoke. Pretty much just moving sideways, and not too sure if it wants to break resistance or not, but I do think we can. Like I said, I've been pretty weak on pretty bearish on the yen. I still think that weakness is likely to continue. You might see some pullbacks here and there, but I think overall the yen still has some weakness to give. I do think potentially we could see a move up to the highs there, but we have to crack this level and we have to do it well as well. I don't want to see like a half-hearted breakout, because we very much could easily roll over. I want to see price show commitment, some strength, some healthy candle closures on the daily. And then, yes, I'll be looking for some pullbacks and some buying opportunities. As of yet, haven't had that, so we'll wait and see. We'll wait to see if we can get it. We still do have these consistent higher lows on the 4-hour chart, which is, you know, somewhat keeping the market bullish. I said if we are going to be bearish, I do want to see price breaking to the downside outside of this trend line, and then start to talk about some shorts after that. Then, yes, I would be bearish on pound yen. As of now, I'm not expecting that. I think the likely move is a break to the upside, so waiting for that to come into place, and simply looking for a break and retest hopefully, and some pullback opportunities after that. And then, yeah, we'll see how far we can take it. Like I said, not 175, sorry. 200 will be the overall kind of the ultimate target for the trade, but we'll see what the market has in store. Maybe it's just a push back to the prior high, maybe trail stops. You know, the management will be, you know, up to you. But in terms of the idea, I think buys look good once we get that breakout. And of course, it does need to be healthy and a big enough breakout to follow as well. So watch out for that. But that's the plan going to next week for pound yen. Okay, so now we got gold up next. So still very bullish on gold as a whole. If I scoot to the higher time frames, you can see the trend we have. It's been flying to the upside for a while, but we have been flat. So the way I see it, if I'm still bullish on gold, the market has been moving sideways, but I do expect it to eventually break higher. And the best way to trade it is look to buy low within that range, buy low within that sideways market, you know, capitalizing on the smaller fluctuations, but also maybe the breakout as well. So I want to try and find areas which I can confidently say are smart areas to buy from, because we're away from the noise, we're buying low, getting some safe stop losses, and maybe capitalizing on a potential breakout. And these two areas stand out to me as such. 3250 and 3140, we'll call it. This is where all the noise is, so I don't want to find any entries and put my stop loss in those areas. If I can get a push into this level, look for a reaction, maybe it turns into a big breakout, maybe just a move back into resistance and price comes against me. But nonetheless, I can probably still look to profit on either of them. Of course, I'd rather it to be a massive breakout, but you know, the market's not always going to give you the home run. And likewise with this level here as well, you can see really nice rejections from each of these areas, and I would be happy to get back involved at these levels if I can see some more reactions and more evidence that we're holding support. But the plan is still very much looking for a buy for gold, looking for a lot more upside. We'll see if we do get that bigger move eventually, but these are smart areas for buys. I don't want to be trading in the middle. That's where all the noise is. I want to be well away from that. So going to next week, that's the plan. Hopefully you can find some nice buys and some nice entries next week for gold. Okay, so up next we got BTC. So as a whole, we are still very bullish on Bitcoin. Of course, we've had the breakout recently. We are starting to stall at the moment. You can see we are looking a little bit more sideways, but momentum still with the buyers. I will still be bullish. There's no signs of a reversal yet or signs of a bigger down move potentially. Of course, that could change, but at the moment, that is not the case. I still like the area of 112K for a retest for a buy, and I also do like support which formed this week as well. If price can confirm that, that could be a nice double bottom, especially if there's a lot of momentum and we kind of pick up momentum quickly. This could be a nice place for a buy, back into highs, potentially higher as well. If you do go for a deeper correction, you do have the possibility for a retest of this high, and again looking for the same idea. I'm going to stay bullish on BTC until I see signs that that might not be the best play anymore. Still momentum as a whole, quite a corrective retracement so far, so I will still be looking for more buys and still be looking for price to return to highs and possibly some higher highs as well in the upcoming days and weeks as well. So very, very bullish. We can see a lot of bullish behavior across the board on numerous cryptocurrencies. Of course, eventually there will be a pullback at some stage, a correction at some stage, but momentum still looks very good, and in the case of BTC, that's still very much the case. So that is the plan going to next week for Bitcoin. Okay, so last but not least, we've got a bonus pair for this week, which is Aussie Yen. I quite like the bias here, another Yen pair. So I do expect more upside. Again, still very bearish on the yen. I quite like what I'm seeing with Aussie yen in terms of the market structure. We put in a very nice inverse head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder. So that is our reversal pattern, and price of course broken through the neckline now. So that's kind of the pattern confirmed and in play. There is some resistance which I've highlighted there around 99. It looks like that could be a draw on price, and potentially could be looking to work our way there. I've marked out this area which we've had a brief consolidation, nice break to the upside, so it's turned into a nice area of demand, healthy break to the upside, and no return or no retest of that area since the breakout. I've also highlighted the trend line there, which has kept price bullish. We've seen numerous wicks to the downside, and it would be nice to see price return there, maybe place some more wicks there on the daily chart. I'll be looking for entries on the 4-hour time frame, but that would be the area which I would like to see if I can position myself long, at least look for a swing back into the prior high, but more so into that 99 area. So very bullish on Aussie yen. I like the price action. It does look like more upside is likely. I'm just hoping we get a pullback, to be honest. There's a possibility we might just continue and run away with it, but if we can pull back, see a nice correction into these areas, more than happy to take some buys and look to swing it back into resistance, and then we'll go from there. But the plan is looking for a pullback, next high low, off a nice area of confluence, back into some higher time frame areas of resistance. And that does sum up Aussie yen and what I'm looking at next week. And that also sums up the video, guys. That does bring us to the end. I hope you have found it useful, enjoyed it. If you do have any particular pairs you're interested in, I'm eager to find out. Let me know in the comments down below. But some very interesting setups next week. Hopefully can find some entries for them. If you have enjoyed the video, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a good one. Catch you all in the new week.